Voiceover is everywhere, and you hear it every day. From radio
Number one for New Country 96.3 Hawkeye in the morning.
to TV
Alpha, Readers Escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
to movies.
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber. Your skills are complete.
To animation
Endgame, Spider-Man!
and so much more.
I don't want to grow up, 'cause baby, if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid.
Welcome to episode 28.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at the world of voiceover, including movies, TV, animation, and more. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Did That Voice. Today, we have the lovely and very talented Judi Beecher joining us. She's an actress, director, producer, singer-songwriter, and author. She is the winner of Best Actress of the New York Independent Film Festival, as well as Best Actress for Saint-Tropez International Film Festival. She is also the winner of the 25 Greatest Voice Performances for the video game Heavy Rain. Judi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. It's good to be here.
You are very welcome, and it is great to have you with us today, Judi. Thank you for giving me some of your valuable time to chat with you today.
You're quite welcome. I'm very happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, Judi, the very first thing we love to do when we have a guest on the show for the very first time is to get to know them. So tell me about little Judi Beecher, the young girl that grew into the beautiful woman she is today, and how did she become an actress?
Ho, ho, ho. That was a journey. Little Judi Beecher was always performing for all of her relatives. Any person that came in the door, she wanted to perform for, whether it be doing cartwheels across the floor or singing or putting on a show or doing a play. That was my favorite thing to do, was to perform in front of my relatives or my parents' friends. And I would recruit all my cousins to be in these plays that I would write, and I would make myself the star and then give them all other parts and I would direct it, and then all the relatives would come over and sit in the basement in these little folding chairs, and we would put on our play, and no one wanted to go home, and that was my beginning. And then I would sit there on the floor in my living room, and I would sing on the top of my lungs. I'd be singing, and I'd sing into a little microphone, like a CB radio microphone that was plugged into the stereo. And I would just love to, because it would come out the speakers, and I'd love to sing into this little microphone. And my father would say, "You sound better than Barbara Streisand." And so I was always singing. I was always performing, but I was also super, super shy. So besides, with my family, I wasn't. I was like the star. I was the princess. But as soon as you got me outside my house or in school or anywhere, I would apply for these competitions, like a singing competition, and and I'd get up on stage, and I'd start singing, and I'd be like, that's what I would sound like. You couldn't hear me. And everyone would be like, louder, louder. You have such a pretty voice. We can't hear you. So needless to say, I never got cast in any plays. No. If I did, it was like I was in the chorus, because when I would audition, I was so shy, and I just nothing would come out of my mouth. And if it did, it would be shaking. My voice would be shaking. I was too shy. Even in school, I didn't talk. I was really shy with with the other kids. I never raised my hand in class because I was so shy. And so that was not an option. Being an actress, doing any kind of being a singer, forget it. It was not an option for me. So I think I finally came out of my shell. When I first traveled, when I went to Israel once when I was 13.
Very nice.
Then another time at 16. And when I came back, from a teen tour, I had a little more confidence in myself, because I started seeing that it wasn't life wasn't all about just my school and the kids in the school that were popular and that were, all these things. And,
Yeah.
and there was a whole world out there. And so that started bringing me out. And then when I went to college as well, I think I went to Europe, that really brought me out of my shell. And I started, just becoming more confident in myself. But I studied business in school. I studied psychology. I studied international relations, and I was kind of obsessed with France and with Italy. And everything I did had to be about France. Like I had the Eiffel Tower on in my room, in my dorm, and all my friends were French, and I just had to go to France. I don't know why. One day this obsession came over me. I had to go. So I finally went to France the summer of my junior year, between my junior and my senior year. And when I came back, I was a different person. And I started modeling in college, my last year in college. I was like on, the cover of the school newspapers. And,
Oh, nice.
And I started doing like modeling stuff. And so when I finally graduated college, I went to Cornell. I got a job as a banker to do like an internship in a bank in France. But I brought my portfolio with me in my little bag. My parents saw me I was taking my portfolio with me, and they're like, "Why are you bringing your portfolio with you? Like, we see that modeling portfolio. You're not going to model, are you?" And I was like, no, I'm not going to model. But yes, I was modeling. I modeled on my lunch break during the bank, and I hated working in the bank more than anything. I hated it. And when I finished that internship, I was like, okay, banking's not for me. This is not a thing. And I became a model full time. And then I became a singer while I was there. Like a friend said, let's go traveling. And Judi, you sing and I'll play the guitar. And the other guy who happens to be a very famous photographer now, you hold the hat. And so we did that, and we went across Europe and busking and making tons of money. And I became a singer because we did that. And I sang, we sang next to the Gypsy Kings in Avignon, France. And then when I came back to the States, everyone said, okay, now you got to get a real job. Now you got to be a real person and get a real job. And I was like, gosh, what am I going to do? And I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to make bags. I'm going to make bags out of neoprene, which is like the scuba diving material.
Okay.
This was a weird idea my cousin had. So we were going to make bags out of neoprene and rock bags out of plastic, because I had seen that when I was modeling in Europe. And I'm still like 20. I'm 22. I'm young. And I go to a trade show, and I trying to make money. So I'm interpreting, because now I speak multiple languages. I speak Italian, I speak French, I speak Spanish.
Wow.
Because I had been in Europe and like gone to all these countries. I was modeling all over the place, and I pick up the languages really quickly. So I start modeling. I start interpreting for this company, and they say, we really need someone to take our line over here in New York. And it was, like a shearling coat company. And I said, okay, well, not me, but thank you for the offer, but I'll help you. I'll help you out. And, I can organize stuff for you. And I ended up like organizing the stuff, and this company became really successful. And I ended up like opening a company and going into partnership with them. And I had a showroom, and I didn't know how that happened. And my rock bag line went out the window. My scuba diving bag went out the window.
Yeah.
And I started working doing this. And then a friend from college said to me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I thought about it, and I said, gosh, not doing this. I kind of fell into it, but what do I want to do? Like, I'm not selling these coats. And I did this book, What Color is Your Parachute? And everything pointed to acting. So it's a long story of how I got into acting, but everything pointed to it. Like all the things I love to do. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Now, how do I become an actress? I have a company. What do I do? So I called a friend from college, and his brother was an actor, and he said, okay, first thing you do is go to acting school. I was like, no, I just finished college. I did all this stuff. I don't want to go to acting school. I just need to act. Just let me act. So I called up some acting schools, and I enrolled in every single acting school at once, because I do things really thoroughly. Like, I wanted to be the best actor ever. And so I enrolled in, I did everything. I did a 2-year Meisner. I studied with the founders of the Actors Studio, Elaine Stritch and Bill Hickey and Uta Hagen and Bobby Lewis. I studied with all of them within like a 3-year period, all of them at once, because I wanted to be the best. And then I went out to LA, and there you go. Now I'm an actress.
So Judi, what are some of the actors that inspired you when you finally discovered that your color of parachute was to be an actress? What was it that, like, who were the actors that you kind of looked to and said, man, those were kind of some of my inspirations?
My favorite actor is Meryl Streep. And
okay.
Like, she is definitely my inspiration, because she is so real, and she completely can transform herself into any character, be it, and she sings, and she does so many different accents and types of characters, she's just so real. She's so real. She's not, you never say she's acting, oh, she can't do that. She just is.
Yeah.
Is whatever it is, whatever character she is playing. And she's so believable. And she just inspires me so much. And that's who I strive to be. That's my role model. That's who I strive to be. And another person I really admire is Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand is incredibly talented, and she's done, from singer to directing to writing to acting, in all these different things. I went to see her once, and recently at the Tribeca, I was at the Tribeca Film Festival, she was speaking, and I was like, gosh, like, she does all these things. And when I first started, I was just acting. And then I kind of all of a sudden started branching off into directing, into singing, into like all these other things too. I was like, wow,
yeah,
I'm kind of like them too. They're at a bigger level, they're like, top. I'm striving to get there. But for me, what's important is, when you have all this stuff inside of you, is the ability to get it out there so that other people can enjoy it. Because if it's just inside you, then it's not benefiting anyone else. And it could be of service to other people by making them laugh, by making them cry, by making them learn, by just entertaining them. It's a gift to give to other people, to get your talents out into the world. So that is my goal, is to, like, all this stuff that I have inside of me, and that I've done and I've written, is to put it into the world so that it will help everybody, and it will not just help, make them feel good or entertain them, and so on and so forth. So those are my role models. I just thought of Barbra Streisand right now, but it is true, and Meryl Streep, definitely.
We're going to talk a little bit about voiceover. You voiced Madison Paige on the game Heavy Rain. Tell us a little bit about your character and what that game was about.
Heavy Rain was the first video game that was done like a movie. So it was like as a 20-hour movie, and every scene had 5 different endings. So every scene you could, depending on how the player would go, the character could lie, could tell the truth, could say, I love you, hey, whatever you chose, like what the player chooses that. And it was about Jaden. He's on the search for his son, and I am a journalist, reporter, and we fall in love during the game, and I help him or not, depending on what the
player chooses. Yeah.
So it was an incredible game, very realistic, and probably one of the most challenging acting experiences that I've ever done, because it had to be memorized. There was, it was a 20-hour game, and all the text had to be memorized. And
Wow. Memorized for
yeah, so it was voiceover,
wow.
but it wasn't voiceover because I couldn't look at the script, and I had to act it. And I had to act it like as if there was another person in front of me. So I wouldn't be reading a script. I had to act it because they put, motion capture.
Yeah. The dots, the motion capture. Yeah.
Because they, used all of my expressions in it. And
wow.
So everything had to be memorized. So it would be a scene done 5 different ways. So every scene is 5 different scenes. and that all is memorized. And then the director, who was David Cage, he was in a booth to the left of me, or not in the booth. He was sitting in the room with me to the left of me and he was feeding me the lines, but I was acting in front of me, like to this imaginary, Jaden or whatever the character was.
Yeah.
I was acting.
Wow.
So love scenes were the hardest, I have to tell you. Because there was no one there, and they hadn't, they didn't do the visuals yet. I wasn't doing it. They did the visuals around me, around my performance. They created that. So I was acting it
to create it, essentially. Yeah. All the way around. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about something that's non-voiceover related. I don't know how much you have regarding the Stepford Wives, but I know you were uncredited on that show or that movie. It was one of my absolute favorite movies. I watched the original one after because my dad told me that this was a remake. But what was it like getting to be a part of Stepford Wives?
It was fun. It was one of my early things that I did. I was a Stepford wife. So I was like, it was really fun, and it was fun working with Nicole Kidman and Matthew. It was really funny because people say, depending on how my hair is and what they say, I look a lot like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
They think I am. I just cut my hair yesterday, so it doesn't look as. It was just like hers before, or she had it just like mine. But Matthew was staring at me through the whole thing, and he kept. I was like, "You think I look like your wife, don't you?" He's like, yeah.
That is so funny.
I don't think I do, but everybody else seems to.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick. So you actually did you get to interact much with Matthew in them, or was it just kind of
yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we were there for a long time shooting.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What's interesting is right now I'm doing a film, which is kind of Stepford Wivey-ish. My character is kind of like that.
Really?
She's like the perfect wife. It's in the 50s. She's the perfect wife. But there's something else. I can't tell you. But it's a film noir thriller. And there's something else going on. Like
there's something just not right.
There's something else going on. She's like everything, it's just the perfect 1950s.
That's awesome.
Life. I won't tell you because I don't want to ruin the story for you.
Can we at least know the name of this production so we can check it out?
The working title is Neighborly, but that's not what the title is going to be because I can't say the title out loud yet.
I understand NDAs.
Let's say Neighborly. We can leave it with that, Neighborly, but it's a working title. So yes, we're in the midst of shooting that right now.
Fantastic. Well, I will definitely keep an eye on your career and be looking forward to that because I love those Stepford Wife-ish kind of type movies and films where there's a little bit of good wholesome hominess mixed with a little bit of something mischievous. That's awesome. So I also noticed that you were on Taken 3 where you played Claire. I don't fully remember Taken 3. I've watched all of the Taken movies, but it has been a while. What was your character on that movie? And
I play the wife of Andrew Borba, who's he's one of the characters who he gets taken. So I play his wife, a wealthy, his wealthy wife.
Okay.
It's in the beginning of the movie.
Well, I was like, it's been a while since I've seen the Taken movies, and I was like, I don't have enough time to rewatch it before our interview. But
Yeah.
those are great movies, high action, get your adrenaline pumping. But I was like, oh man, Stepford Wives and Taken. I mean, come on, those are great movies. So I thought, hey, we've got to at least mention it. So the project that we are talking about today, that is one of your most recent ones that's fixing to come out, is Tango Shalom, from director of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where you played Raquel Yehuda. It is also starring actress Lainey Kazan, who played Maria Portokalis in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So what was it like for you to play Raquel, and what was it like being a part of that amazing cast? It looked pretty fun from the previews I've seen.
Well, it was so much fun to make this movie. It was so much fun. I loved playing Rachel Yehuda. The character is very different from me. She was a Hasidic rabbi's wife, very modest. I didn't wear makeup. I had to wear headscarves and wigs, and it was a big stretch for me. I am Jewish. I'm Reformed Jewish. She was Hasidic Jewish, which is very different. And I really wanted to play this role. I was originally cast in a different role in the movie, the role of Marina, which is the bride to be of. She's my sister, my future sister-in-law in the movie. But she was a Reformed Jew, pretty, just normal. It would have been me playing me, and I just really wanted. When I saw this part, I really wanted to do that. I was like, gosh, I can do this really well. I want to, play this part. And so it was wonderful. And at times I had to, because everybody looked so pretty, and, Carino looked gorgeous and had beautiful makeup and dresses. And so did Marcy, Fine, who's playing Marina, like dressing like Audrey Hepburn. I was the wife, So there was a time where I was like a little jealous. My character gets a little jealous, but also I was a little jealous of like not have, I had to stop worrying about what I look like and just really be this character. And so I really, it was an amazing acting experience for me. And I did a lot of research before I did the part. I went to speak with the women in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, to really get to play her authentically. Yeah. And being in the movie itself, like playing with Lainey Kazan and with Renee Taylor and Joe Bologna, it was Joe Bologna's last film. They were incredible actors, and they were super funny. And what was really beautiful about making this movie was it's a family movie. And it was two families that came together to make this movie. The Bolognas, which was, the director, Gabriel Bologna, is the son of Renee Taylor and Joe Bologna. Joe Bologna co-wrote the film. Renee Taylor and Lainey Kazan are best friends. They've known each other for 50 years. The Lanyata brothers, who co-wrote the film with Joe Bologna, and also play brothers in the film, my husband and my brother-in-law in the film. That's the other, the other family my kids in the movie were one of Joe Lanyata's real daughters, the eldest. Shira was his real daughter, our movie daughter. And then two of the younger kids were Joe Bologna's first cousin's kids. That were the two of them were also in the movie. And then a lot of the people that were involved with the film, I had nothing to do with the casting. I had nothing to do with hiring the people on the film. But the DP I knew for 20 years. He worked with Massimo Zeri. He worked with Federico Fellini.
Wow.
He's an incredible DP. And then a lot of my friends were cast in the movie. I became involved almost like with the very first, not the first, but the second reading of the film. I was involved. And then through the years, that's why I was playing a different part first. I was offered that part. And then I auditioned for Rachel when it became open, when they opened up this role. So I said, please, you got to let me audition. I know I have another part. Please, you have to let me audition. I should be, I should be playing this part.
That's awesome. But it's like when you get to play a character that's not close to who you are, that's when you are able to act even more, because you're not just playing yourself in a very similar role. You're playing something totally out of character, which really gives you the opportunity to stretch your acting chops.
Exactly.
A quote that I really love from director of My Big Fat Greek Wedding and the producer of Tango Shalom, Joel Zwick. He had this to say about you, Judi, and I really loved it. He said, "All movies should have an actress of the capability and talent of Judi Beecher. She brought an authentic feel and powerful performance in her role as Rachel in Tango Shalom." And I think what you were saying and what he says in that quote are very in sync with each other, about the spirituality and about the culture that you come from and have a connection to give you that ability to play that role. He pretty much confirms what you just said in that quote. And I love that very much.
Yeah.
So I have two final questions for you, and we will wrap this interview up. Are you ready?
Yes.
The first one is, what is the advice you would give to a fellow actor or actress who's dreaming about this career? Maybe they're in a different industry and they don't know what their path is yet. What is the advice you would give to those people who are looking at joining this world of acting?
What advice would I give to someone who's just starting out as an actor? Don't give up, and make sure that acting is really your calling, because it is not the easiest of professions. If you want to be famous and be a star, and it doesn't happen that way where you just go and you become famous and be a star. It's a long journey and a lot of work, and you have to be persistent and not give up. And there has to be nothing else that you feel you would be good at or want to do in order to do this profession. But if that's the way you feel and you love it so much, then go for it and do it. And don't give up, because there's a lot of rejection in the career. You're constantly being rejected. You're auditioning, and then they either take you or not. And you're trying to get an agent, and you're trying to do this and trying to do that. So that's one of my, I would say that, and create your own stuff. I was doing drama. I would only be cast in dramas, but I'm funny, and nobody would cast me in anything comedic. But yeah. I'm funny. I really am. And now I get cast in everything. Dramedy for me is like, I love dramedy because it's subtle comedy that I do. I'm not like, I'm like, not a clown. I'm more, it's like the situation, which kind of makes it funny. And it's the character that makes it funny. And I created, and I made Only in Paris to show that I can, do comedy, and we won all these awards, and I won Best Actress in for the film, and we got all different awards. So sometimes you're not cast in things that really show you, and usually when you're starting out, you're getting these little things, and it doesn't show your talent. But there are no small parts, because sometimes even in a small role you can shine, and then people will notice you and they'll say, "Oh, who is that? She was really good." I've been auditioning for I'm not going to say, but a specific show, and they keep having me in different, totally different parts. Like
every time
they're trying to find the right thing for me.
Yeah,
I play an Italian, like something. Then I'm playing in, a doctor, and then I'm playing up. So they send me in for all different things. So it's like, whatever you do it with your heart, do it with your whole self, and do a good job, because you never know who might see that.
Absolutely. I love that advice. I think it's really solid. And thanks so much for diving into it, because it really is a field that you have to be totally passionate about and totally committed to realize that, there is rejection. Stardom doesn't come overnight, and that perseverance is key in all of it, honestly. So the last question I have for you today, Judi, is what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
Oh, that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. I want my work to be out there in the world. And I've been blessed with the ability to create music. I write songs. I've written books that are coming through me. I'm just stuff comes through me out of nowhere. And so I want all of my work and my talents to be in the world, helping, affecting, touching people. I hope that everything that I've learned in my life, and I haven't had an easy straight path. I've had ups and downs, many ups and downs, and I've many challenges and many things that I've had to go through. But I hope that I will have the courage to put all this stuff and the support to put all this stuff out there in the world, so that my legacy, when I go, I will have, a library, a mountain of things that people can say, oh gosh, Judi Beecher, yes, I love her work. I've learned, I learned so much. I've enjoyed it so much. That's my favorite thing. She makes me laugh and cry, and that's really what I hope. And I've set a lot of goals for myself for this year, and one of them is to get like all this stuff that I've created, to get it into other people's homes, and hands and minds and hearts. I'm directing a documentary as well right now, and I have a lot of different things that I need to give birth to. So that's my hopes, is that it will be, all of these things will be in the world, affecting people for a more positive future.
That's a great legacy that you want to leave behind, Judi. And I can't thank you enough for the time we've had together today.
Well, thank you. It was a real joy to be able to speak with you today and be on your show.
Well, Judi, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure having you on the show today. Would you please just give us a special closeout as we end today's episode?
Can I tell people first where to watch Tango Shalom?
Absolutely.
Well, because Tango Shalom is, when you are listeners out there will be able to watch Tango Shalom. It's in the theaters right now as we're recording this, but it will be also on VOD, video on demand, as of October 29th. So you can find it on like Comcast, Spectrum, all of those services, which is, you can get video on demand. So we're opening the 29th. So hey, this has been Judi Beecher on Who Did That Voice. And sometimes I forget, but I become French and I don't even know that it's me, because I am just too sexy for my own being.
Hey everyone, and thanks so much for listening to today's episode of Who Did That Voice. If you enjoyed today's episode, please check us out online on all social media platforms at Who Did That Voice, and on YouTube at Who Did That Voice 24. Also, remember to check out our website, whodidthatvoice.org. Again, that's www.whodidthatvoice.org. Thank you to all my listeners out there. I just wanted to say, if you want to partner with Who Did That Voice, just telling your friends and family about us is the best way to share the show with others, and or leaving us a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast from. The third and final way is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Who Did That Voice.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.